I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. All right, let's talk about time management. I know that sounds super boring and corporate, but stick with me for a second. I used to be that guy who felt like I was running around all day every day, but at the end of the week, I'd look back and be like, what the hell did I actually get done? I was always busy but never productive. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap, especially in your 20s when you are trying to figure out your career, your relationships, your money, your health all at once. It is overwhelming. So here's the thing. I am not some productivity guru. I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and cold plunge and journal for 2 hours before the sun comes up. I sleep in sometimes, I scroll on my phone, I eat a slow breakfast, but I've figured out a few things that actually help me get my stuff done without losing my mind. And I think this stuff applies to pretty much everyone, whether you are in college cramming for exams or working a full-time job and trying to start a side hustle or just trying to keep your apartment clean and your life together. Let me start with the most important thing I ever did for my time management. And it is not even a tactic really. It is a prerequisite. You have to track your time. I know it sounds annoying and tedious, but trust me, just do it for like 3 days, write down in 5-minute increments what you are doing. I did this a few years ago and I was shook. I realized I was spending like 4 hours a day eating. I am a slow eater. I guess I never noticed. But when I saw that on paper, I was like, oh my God, I am literally losing a whole chunk of my day just sitting there chewing. And it wasn't just eating. I realized I was spending hours on my phone answering random texts that could have waited. I was watching YouTube videos that I didn't even care about. I was doing all this low value stuff that added up to huge chunks of time. So before you try any of the other tips I am about to share, just track your time for a few days. See where you are leaking your hours. It is like when you want to save money, the first thing you do is look at your bank statements and see where your money is going. Same thing with time. You can fix what you don't, TC. All right, so first real tip, eat the frog. I think Mark Twain said something like, if you have to eat a live frog, do it first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. And honestly, that is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard. Basically, take the task you are dreading the most, the one you are avoiding, and do it first. I used to be terrible at this. I would look at my to-do list and I would pick the easiest things first just to feel productive. I'd answer some emails, clean up my desk, organize my files. All that stuff feels good in the moment, but you are just delaying the hard thing. And the hard thing is usually the thing that actually moves the needle. So now I try to tackle the biggest, most annoying task of the day within the first hour of my work time. It sucks. Honestly, it still sucks every time. But once it is done, I feel like I can breathe for the rest of the day. And the science backs this up. Your brain works better in the morning, or at least earlier in the day. If you try to do your hardest task at 10 p.m. after you've been running on fumes for 16 hours, it is going to take you twice as long, and it is going to be way more stressful. So eat the frog early, get it over with, then enjoy your day. Second tip, and this one changed everything for me. Set an hourly rate for your time. Now, I know this sounds like a business thing, but hear me out. I started doing this when I was in college with basically no money. I decided my time was worth $15 an hour. That was my number, and I started using that to make decisions. For example, if I needed to get somewhere, I could take a bus for $1 and it would take an hour, or I could take an Uber for $8 and it would take 15 minutes. With my hourly rate, I could say, okay, the bus saves me $7 but costs me 45 extra minutes. My time is worth $15 an hour, so those 45 minutes are worth about $11 to me. So I am actually losing value by taking the bus, so I take the Uber and save the time. Now, I am not saying you need to calculate every little thing. That would be exhausting and honestly kind of weird. Like, don't go to dinner with your friends and calculate whether hanging out with them is worth your hourly rate. That is not the point. The point is to have a framework for bigger decisions. Like, should I take on this extra project at work? Should I start a new side hustle? Should I spend 2 hours cleaning my apartment or pay someone else to do it? When you put a value on your time, it becomes easier to say yes to things that matter and no to things that don't, and your hourly rate should go up as you get more skills and experience. When I started, my rate was 15. Now it is way higher. But even if you start low, it gives you a baseline to work from. And I think that is powerful for anyone, not just entrepreneurs. Third tip is the Swiss cheese method. I don't know who came up with the name, but the idea is simple. Big tasks are overwhelming, so you poke holes in them, you break them down into tiny bite-sized pieces. Let's say you want to write a book. If you put write a book on your to-do list, you are never going to start because that is a massive, scary goal. But if you say, I am going to write 200 words today, that is doable. You can do that in 15 minutes. And then tomorrow you do another 200 words. Before you know it, you've written a book. Same thing applies to anything. Cleaning your whole apartment feels impossible. Cleaning one drawer feels easy. Filing your taxes feels terrible. Filling out one form feels manageable. So stop looking at the big picture all the time. Just focus on the next small step. I use this all the time for things I don't want to do. I tell myself I only have to work on this boring task for 10 minutes. And usually once I start, I end up doing more because the hardest part is just starting. So poke holes in your projects, make them small, and you get way more done without the stress. Fourth tip, be very careful with your yeses and your nos. This is a big one for me because I used to say yes to everything. Friends ask me to hang out, yes. Someone needs help moving, yes. Someone wants to grab coffee and pick my brain, yes. Coworker asks me to cover a shift, yes. And eventually I realized I had no time for myself. I was living everyone else's life but my own, and I was exhausted. So I started learning to say no, and it was uncomfortable at first. I felt guilty. I felt like I was letting people down. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. You are saying no to your own goals, your own rest, your own priorities. And most people aren't going to be mad at you for saying no. And if they are, that is kind of a red flag anyway. So be selective. Obviously, spend time with family and close friends. I am not saying become a hermit, but be intentional. Don't just say yes because you feel pressured or because you don't want to miss out. Your time is your most valuable asset. Don't give it away for free. Fifth tip, stop responding to messages immediately. This was a game changer for me. I used to be the guy who answered every text and email within minutes. And what would happen is I'd get into these long back and forth conversations that killed my focus and ate up huge chunks of time. 30 minutes would go by just texting about nothing. And if you have 5 or 10 people doing that a day, you've lost hours. So now I batch my communication. I check my messages a few times a day, not constantly. I respond to everyone at once, and then I close everything and get back to work. People can wait. Most things are not emergencies. And honestly, most people don't even expect an instant reply anymore. So give yourself permission to unplug and focus. You get way more done, and you feel less scattered. This ties into block scheduling, which IV talked about before. Basically, set specific blocks of time for specific tasks. And don't let interruptions break those blocks. It is simple, but it works. Last tip, and this might sound counterintuitive, take breaks and take vacations. I know there are a lot of people out there telling you to grind 24/7 and sleep 5 hours a night and work yourself to the bone. I don't think that is sustainable or healthy. IV tried it and I burnt out hard. The truth is, after about 10 or 12 hours of work in a day, your productivity drops off a cliff. You are just spinning your wheels. You are better off stopping, resting, and coming back fresh the next day, and taking actual time off helps too. Some of my best ideas have come when I am on vacation just relaxing. When I am stressed and busy all the time, I can think creatively, but when I give myself space to breathe, the ideas come naturally. So don't feel guilty about taking time for yourself. You need it, your brain needs it, and you'll actually be more productive in the long run. That is why I focus on being efficient with my time, so I can have more time to enjoy life. That is the whole point, right? We not trying to be the most productive person in the graveyard. We trying to build a good life. So work hard, but also rest hard. All right, that is pretty much it. 6 tips that have genuinely helped me stop wasting my 20s and start actually getting things done. Track your time, eat the frog, set an hourly rate for your time. Use the Swiss cheese method to break down big tasks. Be careful with your yeses and nos. Stop responding to messages instantly and take breaks. Try applying even 1 or 2 of these, and I think you'll notice a difference. And remember, I am just a regular guy. I am not a productivity expert. I am not a millionaire. I've just made a lot of mistakes and learned a few things along the way. If I can figure this stuff out, anyone can. Peace.